Hi guys, the Mental Maniac back again. Um, this is gonna be, I guess, sort of a four-part thing, four different videos. I'm gonna be ranking all the versions of Eddie from Iron Maiden's artworks. This is gonna be part one. Uh, in this video, I'm gonna be ranking all the versions of Eddie on their studio albums from best to worst. Um, and then there will be a part two eventually, that would be ranking all the versions of Eddie from their live albums, and then a part three eventually also, where I'm going to rank all the versions of Eddie from their singles, and then a part four, a finale, which will be a part four again eventually, and that finale will be ranking every single version of Eddie, their Eddie on their studio albums, Eddie on their live albums, and Eddie on their singles. So yeah, so this is just part one, basically ranking the versions of Eddie on their studio albums. So the worst version of Eddie from Iron Maiden's studio albums, I'm pretty sure everyone can agree on this one, is the version of Eddie from the X Factor. He looks horrible. It's a weird claymation type just weirdness. Um, yeah, again, I think I've said this before, but this version of Eddie doesn't even look like Eddie. It looks like a hairless monkey. It looks really dumb. Um, yeah, it's just really weird. I don't know why they went the claymation route. Just had a little clay figure. I know they didn't have Derek Riggs doing the artwork at this point in time, but they could have got someone to do hand-drawn artwork. But just the way it is, it's just very stupid looking. Again, doesn't even look like Eddie. Um, but yeah, that's the worst. That's number 16. At number 17, the second worst version of Eddie on an Iron Maiden studio album is Eddie from the artwork from Virtual 11. Um, Another problem is with the other one. Well, at least this one's hand drawn, but the main issue I have is, again, just like with the other one, it does not look like Eddie. Like, look at that. I honestly don't know what they were going for. It doesn't look like Eddie. Yeah, you can't really see the full version of Eddie. But there is like Eddie's design. You can see the full design on if you have the Iron Maiden mobile game. They do feature the full design of this version of Eddie, and yeah, no wonder why they didn't show the rest of it on here. He looks very stupid looking. It doesn't even look like Eddie. I don't know what they were trying to go for. I can't even tell if that's a split in his head or some kind of weird mohawk. Um, I don't know why. Also, Eddie's shoulders look like lungs. Like, look at those shoulders. They look like lungs. I don't know. It's just bizarre. Um, yeah, second worst of second worst Eddie on their studio albums. But yeah. All right. Third worst is No Prayer for the Dying Eddie. They were trying to do. I guess they were trying to go back to the version of Eddie from their first album and from the singles of their first album. That kind of style of Eddie. But I honestly, the main problem with this, and I'm pretty sure. Hold on, I don't think Derek Riggs did this artwork because I don't know, it doesn't feel like a Derek Riggs artwork. Hold on. Hold on. I'm gonna see if I could find the credit for the artwork. Uh, um, oh, Derek Riggs. Wait. has a Derek Riggs credit. So is this Derek Riggs? Because it does not look like a Derek Riggs artwork to me. Plus, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, and it doesn't even have like I've been for the longest time ever since I got this. I've been looking for every time there's a Derek Riggs artwork of an Iron Maiden album. He always has like his little like symbol, his little insignia somewhere hidden on the artwork, but I can't find it. Like it's nowhere to be found here. So I don't know. Did they just credit Derek Riggs? I honestly don't think this is actually a Derek Riggs artwork, but correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, this version of Eddie is pretty. It seems like a knockoff version of Eddie from the first album and from the singles from that album because it just looks off. It doesn't look right. Like yeah. Anyway, 16, 15, 16, 15, 14. Oh yeah, I'm on 13. Number 13 is Soldier Eddie from the cover of Matter, Life, and Death. Yeah, you can't really see him here. He's way up top. He should be in front and center, but he's not for some reason. But like I've said, like you get a better view of him. He's also another Eddie. Like in the Iron Maiden mobile game, you get a better look at him. And honestly, he looks very generic. A very generic version of Eddie up close. Has just a very generic soldier outfit on. Yeah, and it's just not that memorable. Alright, next up. 16, 15, 13. Okay, number 12 is the version of Eddie from the Brave New World artwork. Um, I don't know. I mean, it's just his face in the clouds. I mean, it looks menacing, but it's not like I don't know. It just when Eddie's not actually there, it's just like a statue or like a face in the clouds. I always feel like cheated. Like like you expect to see an album artwork by Iron Maiden and expect to see Eddie in his physical form. But I don't know with this one, even though I do think it's kind of cool looking, I do feel kind of cheated that he's not actually depicted in his physical form. Um, but did they redraw the artwork for the disc? Because this is the original release artwork. Like they brought it back. I don't even know if they took it off, but it seemed maybe they took it off because look at that. That's not the same illustration as up here. So maybe they did replace the original artwork at one point, then put it back on. That's what they did with No Prayer for Dying. But yeah, it's just meh. All right. I think I'm at number 11. Hold on. 15, 14, 13, 12. Yeah, I'm at 11. Number 11 is Power Slave Eddie. Again, I kind of feel cheated because this depiction of Eddie, he's just a statue on the pyramid. Not actually like living, breathing kind of Eddie that you could see. I don't know. Again, I kind of feel cheated. Although it looks pretty cool, I just doesn't. It's not really Eddie to me. You know, it's not really Eddie to me. It's just a statue. It's a statue of Eddie. It's not really Eddie. But it still looks pretty cool. But meh. Okay, at number 10 is the version of Eddie is Grim Reaper Eddie from Dance of Death. Yeah, I mean, the rest of the album cover is horrendous because it's unfinished CGI. But the only thing finished about this artwork is Eddie. Like, that's the only thing the artist got to finish before they released the album. And he looks really cool too. I do like that version of Eddie. But yeah, Eddie looks really cool as the Grim Reaper. But yeah, that's at number 10. But yeah, that's at number 10. At number 9 is Eddie from Peace of Mind. definitely my least favorite Eddie from their 80s album art. I know a lot of people like this version of Eddie, but I think it's just sort of it's kind of cool, I guess, but I don't know. I think there's way better versions of Eddie during this time period, especially with like if you're talking about the singles on this album, like a Trooper Eddie and a Flight of Icarus Eddie are way better versions of Eddie than the Eddie depicted on this actual on the actual album cover. But I'll get to those later on in probably part 2 or 3 whenever I do those parts. But yeah. Definitely not a bad Eddie, but definitely their worst Eddie of their um, Eddies from the 80s. Um, yeah. All right. At number 9, okay, I believe this is number 8 now. Number 8 is Somewhere in Time Eddie, or Cyborg Eddie, as some people call him. But yeah, this one is pretty cool. I do like how the Derek Riggs logo, his little insignia, is on Eddie's chest right there, and how Eddie has like a gun. He's like a cyborg. I do think that's pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I always thought this depiction of Eddie was very odd, considering that Eddie is depicted as a ghoul. So you wouldn't think that cybernetics, like replacing some of his stuff with cybernetics, would work. Considering if he's a ghoul, he's technically dead. Like there wouldn't be any living working organs inside of him to replace the cybernetics, and cybernetics actually working. So I don't know. Like the biology of this version of Eddie confuses me because he is depicted as a ghoul, so he's technically dead. He's just possessed by his own spirit. But yeah, I mean, I know I'm going way too in depth in this depiction of Eddie, but I do think it's pretty cool. Although I do go back from time to time and question the biology of this version of Eddie. I don't know. It's just I look way too much into artwork sometimes. But it's a fun discussion when you're talking with friends. But yeah, that's a number 8. I'm pretty sure 9 or 8. Oh, I'm so mixed up. Yeah. Wait, no, 7, 8. That's 8, 7. Oh yeah. Oh my God, what's wrong with me today? 10, 9. Yeah, this is 8. I am so sorry. Um, Number 7. This was not on purpose, but number 7 is Eddie from Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. I really do. I think this is a very unique Eddie, and definitely the most, at least for studio album artwork depiction of Eddie. This is definitely the most "what the hell's going on" Eddie design, because Eddie is just so bizarre in this one. Like I've said, he's the first time I saw this artwork, I'm like, what is going on with Eddie? Like, his brain is on fire. He's just a floating torso, and he's holding up his heart. I don't know. This is just the weirdest Eddie to me. It's still pretty cool Eddie. Um, but yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, that's at number 7. At number 6 is Eddie from the Book of Souls artwork. I know you don't really get a good look at the full design of Eddie. Again, he's front and center, so he's just sort of like, you only get to see his head down to his shoulders. But actually, this is another Eddie that you get to see the full depiction, like the full character design in the mobile game, and he looks really, really cool in that. Actually, hold on, let me take the pamphlet out for a second. Find it. Oh, there we go. You get a better look at him here. There. Look at that Eddie. That Eddie's really cool. Definitely, in my opinion, the best version of Eddie in years. In years! Like, there's never... Well, maybe except for one, which I'll get to later on. But yeah, definitely one of the most awesome depictions of Eddie in a long time. Uh, he's sort of okay. So Iron Maiden, or at least Derek Riggs. Derek Riggs wanted Eddie to look very like as accurate as possible to how the ancient Mayans looked. You know, so he went to an expert, and sort of the expert gave. I think he gave Derek Riggs tips and stuff on how to get certain like elements of the look right. But yeah, I really like how he's like he's kind of I think he's like depicted I think they call him Shaman Eddie. I think that's his official name, Shaman Eddie. So he's like a witch doctor of sorts. It's really cool. He's like and I love this artwork. I just tore out his own heart. But yeah, that's really cool. Um, oh yeah, and this is the one of very few Eddie's versions of Eddie that actually has proper flesh and blood eyes. Like usually Eddie's depicted as just his like empty sockets in his skull, but like there's like white energy balls of energy. But this is one of like I think one of only two depictions of Eddie where he actually has flesh and blood eyes. Um, you can kind of see there. Wait, let me go back to the other artwork for a second. Um, yeah, you can kind of see they're really set into the sockets, but they're there. They're there. Um, all right. This is at number 6, I'm pretty sure. Um, number 5. Yeah, 5. Yeah, okay. At number 5 is Eddie from Fear of the Dark. This version of Eddie is really cool. Um, this is not a Derek like with No Purpose for Dying. This is not a Derek Riggs artwork. It's still really cool. I do think whoever did this artwork did an amazing job capturing the Derek Riggs feel. Like this real if you didn't know that Derek Riggs did not do this artwork, you would think that he did because it looks so much like a Derek Riggs artwork in a Derek Riggs version of Eddie. That you would think, oh, this is a Derek Riggs artwork, but nope, it's not. Just someone who did a really, really good job at replicating his art style. But yeah, this is a really cool version of Eddie. I like how he's sort of like fused to a tree, sort of like a weird tree formation. And that's really, really cool. At number 3, no wait, 4. At number 4 is Final Frontier Eddie. I really, really love this version of Eddie. I know a lot of people hate this version of Eddie. Say, "Oh, that's not Eddie. That's not Eddie. Eddie's never be depicted like that." It's like Eddie's been Eddie's a tree in this one, so you can't tell me that they would never depict Eddie as a giant space monster. They depicted Eddie as a weird tree formation, so yeah, don't say that, people. That's just stupid. That they would never depict Eddie as a space monster. But yeah, I really love this version of Eddie. There's actually an action figure that NECA released quite a while ago, I think like a few years ago, that I really, really want. It's this version of Eddie. I think it was part of their original wave of Eddie action figures. I think it was like the second one that they released, I'm pretty sure. Second or third. But yeah, it's a really cool Eddie. I love like how he's like a giant space mutant, and how and I love like he's sort of like all torn apart. Like you could see like a lot of his flesh, his skin's missing. Mainly due to what happens during the Final Frontier music video. He basically he gets caught in some kind of weird booby trap that spurts out lightning, and then he just gets electrocuted, and his skin starts to just melt. And this is sort of the aftermath of that, and what he looks like after that. Um, but yeah, that's really cool. And then like the space marines there, the space guys that are actually sort of extraterrestrials as well. Like that's really cool. Um, And then the logo looks pretty cool too. But yeah, I really like this version of Eddie. Really like the coloration too. But yeah, that's at number 4. At number three is Eddie from their first album. This is definitely the most realistic version of Eddie. Like, along with the depictions of him from the singles from this album, the original version of Eddie was a lot more realistic, corpse-like. Rather, again, starting with Killers, his design would be a little bit more stylized and slightly less realistic. But here he looks very realistic, or as realistic as possible, considering it's an artwork. Mainly, I think the main reason why this is because Derek Riggs originally this version of Eddie. Um, Derek Riggs based at least the head portion from a picture from I think like a history book where like he saw a picture in a history book where like there was this a tank and like there was a decaying human head tied to the front of it, and he sort of like based the at least the head portion of Eddie from that picture, and that's why Eddie looks very as realistic as possible in this particular artwork and in the singles. But yeah, I really like the realistic corpse-like look to him. I love his hair. He looks very punk-like and is very like fitting for the Poliano era albums because they are very punky, very punky, but also mixed with classic old school heavy metal. But yeah, he's just really cool. I know he's just called Iron Maiden Eddie, but I like to call him a punk rocker Eddie because of the hair. But yeah, this is a really cool version. One of my absolute favorites in terms of studio album versions. But yeah, it's at number 3. At number 2 is probably a lot of people's favorite version of Eddie. It's my second favorite version, and that is Killer's Eddie. I love this version of Eddie. I mean, it is sort of my icon on my YouTube channel, and yeah, this is just a really cool version of Eddie. My particular like absolute favorite versions of Eddie are definitely the variants of the classic Eddie. Basically classic Eddie is any time he's depicted with his hair and not. It's like classic Eddie is any time from before he got his lobotomy and was basically was bald after that. Classic Eddie, yeah, this is another version of classic Eddie. I love classic Eddie. He just looks so vicious. And another thing that I want to mention that a lot of people have never really noticed, but I thought it was pretty funny in a way how like every version of classic Eddie, he looks so like sinister, but he also has like always have this really evil grin on his face. But like starting with the peace of mind version of Eddie, like after he lost his hair, he looks like his facial expression has always been really like pissed off and like angry. Almost like one of the reasons why he's like angry from that point on is because he lost his hair during his lobotomy. So he's like really angry about it. He's just always eternally angry that he lost his hair because they lobotomized him and shaved off his hair. But yeah, I thought it was pretty funny. Anyway, I love this version of Eddie. It's kind of cut off the bottom there, but you can see like there's like someone at the bottom there, like basically holding on to his shirt. Like Eddie's just like murdering this guy with a hatchet, and like the guy's just like struggling to try to get away, but he can't because he's most likely almost already dead. But yeah, this version of Eddie's very vicious looking. Looks really cool. Um, that's why I actually have the action figure, the NECA Eddie action figure of this version of Eddie because I really love it. But yeah, this is number 2. At number 1, my favorite version of Eddie in terms of him on an artwork from a studio album is, of course, the Number of the Beast Eddie. Yeah, technically this is the same version of Eddie from the Killers album art, but he's just kind of like in a different environment, and he is basically like 50 feet tall. Look, hold on, some water. But Okay, but yeah, I mean, if you look at the size comparison, like to like the little like in the hellscape, you see like just people down there, and then like the demons also, like they're very tiny, and then like the devil here, he's like probably like I don't know, way taller. I'd say I don't know. I'm not good at math, but I would say he's definitely at least um Mm, maybe he's 50 foot tall. It kind of looks like it compared to all the other creatures down there. But then Eddie is way taller than him. I think Eddie is like actually 100 foot taller. Like the devil on this one's like 50 foot tall. So yeah, Eddie's just like, sort of looming over him, sort of controlling him with puppet strings. I don't know. I just really love this. Is definitely like, in my opinion, one of the most vicious versions of Eddie. I would say the most vicious looking Eddie, in my opinion, not Killer's Eddie. That's really probably comes very close. But I'd say the most vicious looking Eddie is definitely the Eddie from the single art of Number the Beast, where he's basically has a really stretched out, exaggerated, evil smile, and in one hand he's holding the devil's severed head. Definitely the most evil, definitely most evil, sinister looking Eddie. But this one and then Killer's Eddie comes close. But this is definitely my favorite version of Eddie in terms of uh, studio artworks for studio albums. And yeah, it's just a really cool version of Eddie. Eddie. But yeah, so that's it. Like I said, I'm gonna do three more parts sometime. But yeah, was just ranking the versions of Eddie from the album arts from the studio albums. Once I get all the live albums, which will happen eventually at some point, but I am planning at some point to get all the studio albums, review those, and then probably do a ranking of those, and then after that I will rank the artworks, and then I will eventually get to ranking the Eddie versions of Eddie on the studio on the live albums, and then later on at some point in time whenever I do get the all the singles, I will be at some point eventually ranking the all the versions of Eddie from the singles, and then there will be a finale at some point where I rank every single version of Eddie ever on like studio albums, live albums, and singles. But don't hold your breath because the parts 2, 3, and 4 will not be anytime soon. Again, I don't own all the uh, live albums yet, and I don't own any of the singles yet, so that will be far off. I don't know, but they will happen eventually. I promise you that, but they definitely not anytime soon. Um, but yeah, so that's it for this video and my video for today. Like I said before, I don't have any albums to actually review yet. I am expecting stuff by the 28th, possibly. But yeah, bye.